Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, the government summons the Chinese ambassador after the back-to-back firing of water cannons on Philippine vessels. A security official considers the latest incidents as a serious escalation of aggressive moves from China. But can it be considered an act of war? And the task force on West Philippine Sea adjusts its strategy after China's latest actions. National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya joins us in the program. The Philippine government lodges another diplomatic protest and summons Chinese ambassador to Manila, Wang Xilian, after back-to-back aggressive actions in the West Philippine Sea. At least 14 nations have expressed their concerns and support for the Philippines after Chinese vessels repeatedly blasted water cannons on smaller Philippine ships on two separate occasions over the weekend. Despite global outrage, China justifies its actions. Its Ministry of Foreign Affairs claims they were professional, restrained, and legitimate. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have National Security Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya, ADG. Sir Jonathan, welcome to the source. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Pinky, and good morning to all your viewers today.
So there was a press conference yesterday. I actually watched that in full, sir. So much points that were raised there, but it's good to reiterate some of them again. Okay, two successive incidents that happened over the weekend. First, I wanted to ask you, was this something government knew or prepared or thought would happen? Because you'd think after one incident, hindi na po mangyayari yung susunod na araw. But two successive ones. Is this the first time this happened, sir?
Well, we were hopeful that things will, stabilize or at least normalize in the Ayungin Rore approach, we were really surprised with the Baho de Masinloc incident. No, we did not expect that the civilian BFAR vessels will bear the brunt of the blast of the water cannons coming from the Chinese Coast Guard. And we were also very much surprised that our vessels took on damage. The navigation equipment of Dato Tamblot was damaged by the deliberate targeting by the Chinese Coast Guard vessels there. So it really was a surprise to us because these are Philippine humanitarian and support, which we do regularly to our fishermen in that area. So in a sense, that's why I called it a serious escalation, because it has been successive incidents, and also the number of vessels were in a way unprecedented.
Just going back to Baho de Masinloc, just to be sure, was this the first time that a BFAR ship or vessel was water cannon?
Yes, as far as I know, I've been in the NSC since early this year, and under this term of Secretary Eduardo Año, this is the first time that a water cannon incident happened in Baho de Masinloc. I don't know in the past if there were, but as far as I know, this is the first time.
Okay, so again, as mentioned a while ago, two successive incidents of harassment, bullying, intimidation, aggression, the use of water cannons, and dangerous maneuvers over the weekend. And in yesterday's press briefing, officials were asked what they would do if this would happen again. And to that you said, I think it was you that said, ADG, that there is a new strategy. It just needs approval of the president. What can you tell us about this? And I know this is an operational matter.
Yeah, there's very limited information I can share to you right now, Pinky. For obvious reasons. We have to keep these things confidential because of national security considerations. But we have been developing this new national security strategy for the West Philippine Sea for the past several months now, and we are now awaiting for the date of its presentation to the president. So, as I said in yesterday's press conference, there will be some adjustments in how we approach um, the incidents or detentions in the West Philippine Sea, and we hope, no, that the president will approve these adjustments.
So, a couple of follow-up questions on that, because actually I was thinking, ADG, was this new strategy prompted by what happened over the weekend? And as you answered a while ago, this has been discussed for months. How long ago, and what prompted this new strategy? Was it the first time that the Chinese Coast Guard used water cannons on Philippine vessels?
Well, we've been developing this strategy, as I said, for several months now. But we just recently concluded it. It was not prompted specifically by what happened yesterday. Over the weekend. It's a work in progress, but we find it timely that China has escalated, no, its actions in the West Philippine Sea. So at least we have something to submit to the president. And let me just emphasize, Pinky, what the president said. No, the president said that no matter what China does in the West Philippine Sea, whatever they do, the more they push us, the more determined we are to push for our rights, no, over our maritime zones. Meaning, what the president was saying, it doesn't, if you keep on pushing us and pushing us, no, this will just solidify our desire, our will to resist. So therefore, if China's intent here is to somehow weaken our resolve, it's having a different effect. I think that is the message from the president. And I think the new strategy which we're proposing to the president will address that directive from Malacanang.
That we will be more resolute, that we will not give up, that we will continue and carry on, basically.
Yes, Pinky, because if you look at what's happening in the West Philippine Sea, it looks like, as I said, it's a serious escalation. By the number of vessels alone, almost 50, no, in total. Coast Guard, Coast Guard, Chinese Coast Guard, Chinese Maritime Militia, plus the plan, no. So all of those taken together is a serious escalation. And the actions they have taken, the deliberate blasting and damage done to our vessels, it clearly shows to everyone what kind of escalation has happened.
Okay, but
so,
ADG, you were saying that this had been planned months ago. This strategy was formulated. At least it started months ago. Why?
Yes.
Why has it not been presented to the president earlier? And to follow up on that, when will this be presented to the president?
Well, we hope that we can present it very soon to him. Pinky, government is a large bureaucracy. So we have to have everyone on board. So it's not just the National Security Council that's crafting this national strategy for the West Philippine Sea. It's the entire government bureaucracy who's involved. So it's the National Task Force West Philippine Sea, per se. Okay, so it has the DFA there, the DND, it has BIFAR there, the ILG, all of the critical government agencies insofar as the WPS is concerned is part. So it took some time, and given that we have regular RORES, there's always something that crops up, so we make adjustments to the national strategy. So now that things have become very clear, we're now prepared to make this presentation.
But who really spearheaded this new strategy? Who really formulated it? I know that you're saying this is basically a number of agencies, or rather departments, coming together. But sino ho ang nanguna?
Well, it's Secretary Eduardo Año as National Security Advisor, and he divided the work among several working groups. So there's a military and law enforcement working group led by the Department of National Defense. There's the diplomatic and something working group. I forget right now. There's also led by the DFA. There's also another working group on socioeconomic led by the DTI and NEDA. And finally, there's the information working group led by the Presidential Communications Office. So it's really a whole of NTFWP's approach. So it took some time to develop this new national strategy, and as I said, we hope to be able to present to the president very soon.
I know that the data is very limited on what you can actually really tell us, but I'm just interested to find out, was it a hard strategy to formulate? Were there a lot of concerns and problems that cropped up? Were there a lot of debates that ensued?
Yes, as you can possibly surmise, Pinky, I've been in the government bureaucracy for 25 years now, and this is one of the hardest things to develop because there's so many inputs coming from different government agencies, and there's a lot of balancing that has to be done. No, one position of one government agency may go against the position of another government agency, so there has to be a compromise and a balancing of interests. So that's why it took some time to develop this strategy.
And you're saying that in your more than 20 years, this is the most the most challenging that you've had to participate in terms of formulation of strategies or policies.
Yes, I think what is on the level here was the IATF meetings I attended during the pandemic. That was also very heated.
Opo. Pero
so
mas mahirap po ito.
That level.
Mas mahirap po itong new strategy. Just a last question on this. I know you said soon, but really how soon is soon, sir, to be presented to the president? Is it, let's say, before the end of the year, or are we still seeing maybe the start of 2024?
Well, we've requested an opportunity to be able to present this to the president. So we're just waiting for advice from his office or from the office of the executive secretary when we can present this new strategy.
We'll continue our conversation after the short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya. ADG, yesterday, I think it was you that said, if we look at the whole, what happened, the incident over the weekend, were you the one that said that at the end of the day, it was a success? Why?
Yes.
Because you said that supplies were delivered. And
well, Pink,
go ahead, ADG.
Yeah. Of course, the optics are bad. The optics are bad in the sense that, if you're a Filipino, you don't really feel good whenever you see our vessels, especially BFAR vessels, delivering humanitarian and support to our fishermen, being blasted that way by a foreign power. No, so kumbaga tago sa puso. No, so but if you look at it on the other way, no, if you look at the mission wise, if you look at it through the lens of the mission itself, it was a success. Because we were able to put, despite the attempt by the Chinese Coast Guard to stop and impede or obstruct our delivery of humanitarian assistance, we were able to do so. We were able to provide fuel, we were able to provide noche pena and all food to our fishermen in the West Philippine Sea. Also, in Ayungin Shoal, Aurora was a partial success. When Isa May 1, who had the chief of staff there, he was able to go to BRP Sierra Madre and shore up the morale of our troops there and deliver the president's message of support and commendation to all of our troops stationed at Ayungin Shoal.
Sir, nakatungtong ho ba si Chief of Staff, si AFP Chief of Staff Bronner sa BRP Sierra Madre?
Yes, he was able to go there. Nakasakay siya doon sa una sa May 1. So he was able to go to BRP Sierra Madre. Nag-boodle fight pa sila doon. Nag-pep talk siya sa mga tao natin doon, sa mga tropa natin doon. So it really buoyed up the spirits and led to an increase in morale for our troops stationed at the LS-57.
And that's where you say it's a success. And on the opposing side, kapag Pilipino ka nga, nakita mo na ganyan naman ang trato sa atin, sabi mo nga tago sa puso. Sir, another one you said is that it's a success legally because, we were able to bring the supplies, the AFP Chief of Staff was able to go to BRP Sierra Madre. And then also during the press con yesterday, was that the narrative of China is debunked.
Yes.
So let me just add this, ADG. coming from their Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Mao Ning. And let me read this. The responsibility for the emergencies in waters in Renai Jiao lies completely with the Philippine side. The root cause is that the Philippines has refused to tow away the illegal grounded warship and attempted to permanently occupy Renai Jiao. I know, I heard you. May sagot ho kayo dito. In fact, this was not asked. Hindi po ito tinanong sa inyo. Pero you touched on this subject. Hindi ho ba kahapon?
Yes, I did, Pinky, because I wanted a response, a very clear response to the statements coming from the Chinese Foreign Ministry. We have been monitoring the Chinese Coast Guard spokesperson and the official statements from the Chinese Foreign Ministry, and we are really surprised, by the disinformation and fake news coming from official channels, as you mentioned, for example, they raised again the special temporary arrangements with China over the RORA missions in Ayungin Shoal. Now, as I said in the yesterday's press conference, this so-called promise, to tow away the BRP Sierra Madre has no basis and has been discredited and debunked time and time again. If you remember, Pinky, the first time that the Chinese Foreign Ministry mentioned this promise, I challenged them to release any proof or evidence to support this claim, because in diplomatic practice, especially if you are discussing policy with another foreign state, you do not rely on verbal discussions. There's always a joint statement or a document prepared.
A MOA,
wherein both sides agree.
MOA and MOU.
Yes, an MOU or a certain document.
Yeah.
People, diplomatic practice, do not rely on statements because, they're diplomats and they have to say things in a agreeable manner. So, what is whatever agreement, if ever there was, should be in a document. And since the Chinese Foreign Ministry has not been able to produce any document to support this so-called promise, we urge them to finally abandon this argument and abandon, as I said, this figment of the imagination.
Yun pong sinabi niyo kahapon, it's a figment of their imagination. And the President had said, hindi ho ba, many months ago, President Bongbong Marcos said, if there were, of course not in these words, I rescind it.
Yes, that's a good point. Even if, sabi niya, even if there was this so-called promise, I rescind it. So there's really no rhyme or reason to continue this line of argument. The Chinese Foreign Ministry should look for another argument to support their claim, because if they keep on using the old arguments, they cannot sway global opinion in their favor. And their desire, is to, to sway, as I said, to sway public opinion in their favor, and they're not doing themselves any credit for this.
And it's what was called yesterday also, referring to that like a cat and mouse game, hindi ho ba? Someone had mentioned that in yesterday's press conference, sir. But my question is really, at what cost? I want to find out from the National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea, is there a way to seek damages for the vessels that have been damaged due to the collision and the water cannons?
Well, there's always the legal recourse, and we have the Department of Justice, the Office of the Solicitor General already studying new cases to be filed, whether it be for environmental damage or whether it be for the deliberate ramming and deliberate blasting through water cannon and the use of the acoustic device,
Yung
by the Chinese Guard.
What is it called again, sir? LRAD?
Yes, the LRAD.
Okay.
So this is more this is more the area of the Department of Justice and the OSG, if they feel there is basis for filing a case against against China.
It'll be up to them. Again, we need to take a very short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya. ADG, si Chinese Ambassador to the Philippines, Wang Jilian. I know this was asked with in yesterday's press conference kay Ambassador Daza. Ano po. It's just a question on recall, persona non grata, and Ambassador Daza made it very clear, this needs serious consideration. She didn't say we are seriously considering it. Ang sinasabi niya, kailangan ito pag-isipan ng mabuti. Ito na lang po tanong ko, sa National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea, are you recommending that he be recalled or gawin po siyang persona non grata?
Well, Pinky, as of now, we have no recommendation as far as I know. We have we're leaving it to the Office of the President and the DFA to make that kind of decision. But based on my own experience about how things are done, if the Philippines strongly has very strong sentiment about it, really the normal recourse in international practice is for the Philippines to withdraw its envoy or its ambassador from China. That's the first thing that we should do, no? Meaning, so that's the first thing. Usually, when a ambassador is asked to leave, and declared persona non grata, there's usually something that he did
or say, something he said or did.
Yes, something he said or did in the Philippines that would make him unacceptable. So I think that's why Ambassador Daza said that this takes serious study because, we have to show that there's something he did or said that makes him unacceptable.
Which I understand.
At least in regular practice. But of course, there's nothing to stop the Philippines from ejecting him if we want to.
So it was clear yesterday, you must do something or say something para po kayo i-declare na persona non grata. Paano po pag wala naman po kayong ginagawa para mapabuti yung sitwasyon?
Yes. I'm not a foreign affairs expert, Pinky, but my understanding is it is also within the discretion of the Philippines to ask him to leave. Whether there is reason or not. But in normal diplomatic practice, there must have been a faux pas or something he did which is unacceptable to the host government for the Philippines to take that action.
ADG, quickly, just please answer this, yung Christmas convoy. What were the support that was given to them? How much government resources were allotted for the trip?
Yes. Thank you, Pinky, for asking that question because there has been some insinuation that we did not provide enough support to the civilian convoy. I'd like to debunk that claim because, number one, it is a civilian-led convoy, meaning we don't want to control what they do. No, so they came to us, they asked for help, and we provided help. In fact, one of our largest vessels, if I'm not mistaken, the BRP Melchora Aquino, was the one that, from the Philippine Coast Guard, was the one that escorted them in the West Philippine Sea. And there were also plans to deploy more ships for them, but there was at a certain area in the West Philippine Sea, the fishing boats were left. Meron kasi silang mga 30 fishing boats, medium-sized fishing boats that were slow and were slowing the movement of the convoy. So naiwan. So ang nangyari, dalawa na lang na barko, the MV Felix Ona and then the MV Chawi, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. So itong dalawa na lang and supported by one 97-meter Philippine Coast Guard vessel. So there was enough support and assistance given to them, especially in escorting them in the West Philippine Sea.
All right. NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya, sir. As always, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pinky, and thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.